I'm Amy Giaquinto and I am Mama Fix It. And on today's episode, I am going to show you how to make the most amazing gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, mostly nut-free, it's got coconut in it, cake and cupcakes for those wonderful celebrations that you need to go to, or that your person that you're celebrating that has food allergies and intolerances. All right, this is gonna be great. So come on, I'm gonna share my secret recipe with you. Shh. All you're gonna need is to start your oven first and set it for 350 degrees. Let me go do that. Haha. Okay, now the next thing, you're gonna need your ingredients, right? So, brown rice flour. You can get it at natural grocers. I love natural grocers. Xanthan gum. You can get that pretty much anywhere at this point. You're gonna need sugar. It's not the enemy all the time, but you know, moderation. Flax seeds that are ground. Doesn't matter if they're golden or brown, they just need to be flax seeds. Baking powder. Applesauce, margarine stick, it's dairy free. I like the Country Crock plant butter sticks. I'm not being paid for that. Vanilla extract and coconut milk and usually rice milk. We use rice milk in this. This is like world's easiest recipe, I promise you. It's very quick, very easy. So let's get started. I just want to say that I am one of world's laziest cooks, especially when it comes to allergy stuff. I hate having to spend a lot of money on my allergy-friendly food, and I hate having to spend a lot of time on it. So what I'm doing is I have a basic recipe here from a regular cookbook that I have spent years figuring out how to modify. So I think something's on fire. I haven't even started cooking yet and I'm already burning the house down. What is in there? Oh, God, big blob of something. My last episode of cooking. Really, I can cook, I swear, really. Can you believe that I literally just cleaned the oven? Look at this, it's still smoking. Yeah, excuse my sink, it's dirty, not a cleanser. All right, there you go. So one of the things I should have mentioned is that maybe you should check your oven to make sure that it's clean before you start it. Holy cow. Or if you're one of those weird people who stores random crap in their oven, you might want to make sure that your oven is empty before you start it, so you don't have this situation. Because there's no time like the present, I'm gonna go ahead and get started in this smoky, nasty mess, okay? So this is super easy. I literally throw all of my ingredients in my bowl at the same time. I'm doubling my recipe today, so I'm gonna go with 1/2 cup of my margarine. I'm gonna go with, oh, you know what? I should have opened this before I did this, sorry. Okay, 1/2 cup of margarine. I'm gonna go with 2 2/3 cups of brown rice flour. And you know, I am not a professional chef. A lot of this is just based on my experiences working with gluten-free flour forever and ever and ever. I kind of do a lot by eye, and I will hopefully be able to share some of that with you. I mean, this is like the worst way to measure, because if I miss, it all goes in there. So 2 2/3 cups of brown rice flour. I've got 2/3 cup of sugar. That's for one recipe, but I'm doubling this. So it would be 1 1/3 cups of sugar, but I don't want that much because I'm gonna use some applesauce later on, and the rice milk also has sugar. So I'm gonna do about 3/4 of a cup of sugar in there. That's more or less. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Don't ever confuse baking powder and baking soda. I like that baking soda comes in the orange bag if you get the on-brand stuff, and that makes it a lot harder to confuse. Okay, baking powder, it would be 4 teaspoons, but 3 teaspoons right here equals 1 tablespoon. So I'm gonna do a tablespoon plus a teaspoon, and this I do measure a little bit more accurately for what it's worth here. 1, and then always use the back of a knife. Oops, that's out. Jeez, I'm making a mess. See, my spoons aren't labeled anymore, so I'm not as fast here. Okay. Because, you know, who makes plastic spoons? Note to manufacturers, please don't make plastic spoons with this paint on them because they rub off. Figure out a way to make that stop happening. Makes it really hard to teach your kids how to cook. Okay, so I've got my 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2/3 of a cup of milk, which doubled is 1 1/3. Again, so what I'm gonna do is, because when you're cooking with brown rice flour, you need a bit more fat in your recipe to make it work really well and taste really yummy. Boy, I'm gonna substitute about half of that with coconut milk. So any brand is fine. Nice and gooey. There's 1, what did I say? 1 cup, 1 1/3 cups of coconut milk. Yeah, so no, not coconut milk, I apologize. You're gonna want about 2/3 cup of coconut milk and about 2/3 cups of rice milk. Sorry about that, I had a mental lapse, which I know you guys can understand because as moms, that's great. Notice how I am not using a liquid measuring cup. I should be, technically, I should be using one of these so that I can accurately measure my liquids. However, like I said, I'm lazy. And I like to work fast, especially when I'm making cakes. Okay, and then our next thing is 1 egg. Well, we can't do eggs in this house because my husband is allergic, so I use flaxseed meal. You can also use chickpea flour and banana or avocado as substitutes, but today I'm gonna use the flax meal because it adds some fiber and it just seems to work really well. So we want 2 eggs if I'm doubling this recipe. And then to make an egg, it's 1 tablespoon of flax meal per 3 tablespoons of water. So I have 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal in here, and then I'm just gonna put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tablespoons of water in here. Oh, look at how pretty that looks. And then I'm gonna stir it around. A lot of times it's nice to let it sit so it kind of congeals for a minute. So I'm just gonna set that off to the side. Not a problem if you don't have the time or you don't feel like it, you just dump it in. This recipe works no matter what you do. And then we're going to put our 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract in our bowl. And then I'm gonna throw the egg in there. Our fake egg, I should say. The other thing I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna add some applesauce to the recipe because this will add some sweetness to it. So I add probably about a half a cup of applesauce. Ooh, yummy. See, there's my bowl with all the stuff in that. So normally you want to mix your wet and dry ingredients separately and then add them to each other. But like I said, I'm in a hurry, I'm in a rush. I'm just gonna dump it all in together. It works with this recipe, I promise you. Now we're gonna beat it. My kitchen is absolutely horrible setup for all of this, by the way, but oh well. Okay, so we're gonna just mix it into a batter. Making sure we're really beating in the margarine here so it's nice and well dispersed. So I usually start on low and then I mix it up a little higher as I need to. I turn it up a little more. So you can see me better, I got a chair. And for those of you with back issues or joint issues, feel free to cook using a chair. So I'm gonna sit here and mix this up a little bit more. I wanna make sure that it's really mixed up. I don't have any flour in there. Turn it on high here for a minute. You know what? We didn't add our xanthan gum. I want to add a teaspoon of xanthan gum. There we go. Let's beat that in. So you can see here, our batter is pretty beautiful. It's pretty thick. It looks rich and creamy. Let's see. You want it to be like muffin batter if you've ever worked with gluten flour. It's nice and goopy. Okay, that's it. We're gonna prep these to go in the oven. When you have a long counter like this and no island, it's a real pain because you're always shoving stuff out of the way. Shove it to the right, you shove it to the left, you shove it to the right, you shove it to the left, you shove it to the right, you shove it to the left until it falls right off. Yeah, it drives me crazy. Since I doubled the recipe, I'm gonna have some extra left over for a 1-layer cake when I'm done with this. And these are just vanilla cupcakes. If you wanted to make them chocolate, all you have to do is add about a quarter to a third of a cup of cocoa powder, and then you have chocolate. And the chocolate works really, really well because there's extra fat in the cocoa powder, and that's good. So I'm gonna fill these about 2/3 full. You don't want them running over, trust me. That was my problem with the last batch. I filled them too full. But this should feel silky smooth on your fingers too. If it's not, and if it feels gritty, you're not there yet with the beating. You want them about the same height, because these will rise. I'm gonna toss it. I like to tap them down to see if I need any more. And if you do lick your fingers, just don't stick it back in the batter. But if you do, that's probably okay because I think of it as heat kills, so why not? These beautiful cupcakes. We're going to shove them in the oven. And, yay, there's no smoke. I'm gonna set my timer for 20 minutes. And during that 20 minutes, I like to start cleaning up, but I also like to get out a wire rack to cool them down when they come out, because that's one of the keys to gluten-free baked goods, is to make sure that they cool down before you touch them. Otherwise, a lot of times they will fall apart. So the other thing we can do is, once I clean up here, we'll start making some yummy frosting. I will give you my secret frosting recipe. Shh. Okay, so I'm back. I literally cleaned all of this up in about 3 minutes, and that is awesome. And then all I did was I spent the other 2 minutes closing all the windows I had opened to get out of the smoke. It's much better. All right, so while those cupcakes are in the oven, I like to make the frosting. So to make the frosting, you need some powdered sugar, you need a stick of butter. I like to do lemon juice because I'm gonna make a lemony vanilla frosting and vanilla extract, and then some non-dairy milk. I want to start by grabbing my powdered sugar and using my knife after I dry it off to open the powdered sugar. Should use a more fun knife. Usually it's like 4.5 cups of powdered sugar to a third of a cup of butter. So that's what I'm gonna do. 2, 3, and you know what makes powdered sugar so interesting is that it has cornstarch in it. So if you know anybody who has a corn allergy in the family, please don't use powdered sugar. Find another way to frost your cake. Okay, there we go. So there's the powdered sugar. Do a third of a cup here of butter or margarine. Again, I like the Country Crock plant butter. Okay. It does tend to cook up sometimes with a little bit more moisture than a traditional butter or margarine would, but you know, you can work with that by adding a little more flour to your recipes. In this case, it's just frosting, so it's not gonna matter. Frosting is all about how much liquid you put in there. It's very, very, very easy to get a frosting recipe that's too stiff or too runny. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna just add, this is probably about a tablespoon or 2, see how good I am on the measurements, of lemon juice. It's just the juice of half of a lemon that's been sitting in my fridge for a while. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Almost exactly 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So that's the main flavor I want. That's why I want to put it in there first. And then I'm just going to beat it up. Start off on slow. If you don't, you will have powdered sugar all over your kitchen. Promise you. And beat that margarine in there. And then you're going to use some of your non-dairy milk. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to use my vanilla first because that's another flavoring that I want to have in there. So all of your liquids you need to add in really carefully. Let me rinse this out real fast. So that you don't end up putting too much liquid in here. Might do 1 and yeah, we'll do 2 teaspoons of vanilla. They do make a clear vanilla extract, which is wonderful if you want to keep your frosting white, pure white. But, oh, that's the wrong cap. That's the wrong cap. You know what? Here's the right cap. Jeez Louise, yeah, happens. So I'm gonna mix these together. Yeah, there we go. And you can see that I'm getting a little bit of icing dust on here, but that's okay. It's fine. I really want to mix this up well and go nice and slow with my adding liquid. And add like a tablespoon at a time from here on out, because otherwise if I don't, I'm gonna end up with a real problem. It's gonna be too thin and runny, and then I'm gonna have to keep adding more powdered sugar, and then you get into this negative cycle, and it's just crazy. So, okay. Yes. You can, oops. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Okay, you can increase your speed over time. See how we're starting to get these little lumps? Just trying to mix around all that liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit more in here. Okay, if you have kids, this is a great time to let them suck on the lemon. Just saying. Gives that comic relief. It almost takes more time sometimes to make the frosting than it does to make the cupcakes. Which, if I wasn't filming, would take me all of about maybe 5 minutes to mix everything up together. Or if I'm running a little slow because I'm distracted because my phone's ringing off the hook and somebody's having a crisis, a mommy crisis, then it might take me a little bit more. I'm gonna see how this is starting to get pretty thick here? I'm gonna do about a half tablespoon of my non-dairy milk here. And you can use any non-dairy milk. I just like the rice milk because we have some soy and almond allergies in the family, and the rice milk's pretty neutral. Oat milk to me just tastes like nothing but starch and water. That's my opinion on that. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. See how we're starting to kind of whip up and it's looking nice and fluffy? There we go. All right, so let's see where we're at. This is pretty spreadable right now. See if I spread it along the inside of the bowl, it spreads nice and smooth. That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful frosting. At this point, what you can do, and what I like to do personally, is I like to separate my frosting into different bowls. You know, just take a big chunk of it, and then I can add whatever colors I want. And if I wanted to have different flavored frosting, like if I wanted a chocolate and a vanilla, I would just cut it in half before I added the lemon juice, and then I would take 2 different bowls and I would add my cocoa powder, or I would add my coconut, or whatever I want. But a lot of times what I'll do even is I'll take half of my frosting, because you never use all your frosting, right? Well, I mean, sometimes you do. But I'll take half of my frosting and I'll freeze it for a later time. Because then when you have a kid or an adult or somebody in the family, or all of you have food allergies or intolerances, you can yank the cupcakes out of the freezer, you can yank the frosting out separately, and then you can defrost the frosting, sometimes even in the microwave, very, on the defrost cycle. And then you can just frost those cupcakes, and the kids and you are out the door to whatever party you're going to. You don't have to worry about spending 10 bucks for a freaking cupcake that's this big that tastes like garbage with wax frosting on it. Now that this is done, I'm just gonna sample it here, see how we're doing. See, it's nice and creamy. Spreads beautifully. That's delicious. So the only other thing we missed is that I'm adding some coconut to our frosting, probably about 1/3 of a cup. And then I'm just gonna stir it in. Feels a little stiff, but it's okay. It's not, if it gets to be too much, like if the coconut is feeling like it's absorbing too much fluid in here, you can always add a little bit more of your milk. Okay, or your lemon juice, whatever you want. See, it's starting to clump up again. You don't want that. That's too thick. So I'm gonna add a little more lemon juice. Juice this one. I think I'll only need a half. I just want to get a little bit more juice in here. That's my other frosting. Oh, that's the other thing I did, is I separated out half of the frosting. So just, again, nice and slow. Okay, see how it's nice and creamy again? Nice and creamy, and I can spread it really easily. Mostly. There's coconut in it, so it's not going to be super smooth. Tasting is the most important part of cooking. Oh my God, that's really good. That's really good. All right, so I'm gonna put that leave that here until our muffins and our cake are done. In the meantime, okay, so my GoPro just overheated, but that's not a problem. My cupcakes just beeped. We're gonna take these, test them with this here. Comes out nice. Where is it? There it is. Nice and clean. These are done. You absolutely do not want to overcook anything that's gluten-free. Put the muffin tin on the cooling rack and don't touch a thing for at least 10 minutes, okay? So I'm gonna go set my timer for 10 minutes. So it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna take my little muffin cups here, my little muffins, out of their muffin tin. I like to do it this way and then flip them upside down because guess what? Then, whatching, they come right out. They're beautiful. Look at these babies. Now this is nice and warm, so I also want this side to cool because if you use a little extra fat, sometimes these are moist, and so you want to give this side a chance to kind of cool down. So be back in a couple minutes. Yay! Apparently I wasn't recording, but while I wasn't recording, all I did was I grabbed my 8-inch round cake pan, lined it with foil, buttered it, floured it, you know, tapped the flour around, and then dumped the extra flour out in the sink. And then I took the extra cake mix that we put in there and I put it in here. And then I poured the cake batter in here. And now I've smeared it so that it's nice and flat. And now I'm gonna put it in the oven. And I'm gonna set the timer for, as you can see, 20 minutes. It's promotion time! Check this out. This is my I Love My Mama Fix-It hat. And you know who a Mama Fix-It is? A Mama Fix-It is any woman, any mama who takes care of everything. Everything from cooking to fixing the car, to patching the roof, to fixing the plumbing, to, you know, taking care of babies and raising kids and doing meetings at schools for IEPs and 504s. She does everything. So why not honor her with one of these wonderful I Love Mama Fix-It hats? Have I Love Mama Fix-It mugs. My mugs are even personalizable. I love my Mama Fix-It. Isn't that sweet? Right there. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Yay! It's the best. Absolutely love it. It's so cute. And it says, from broken toilets to broken hearts, from homework to baby farts, my Mama Fix-It's who I call when I need my mom to fix it all. Thanks so much for all you do and for everything you've helped me through. I love you. Love, Amy, or your name. And you can even put Dear Mom up here. Or dear whoever, because it could even be your Nana. If you're a fan of my Mama Fix-It series, because I am a goofball, and you love goofball videos that are informative and educational and promote women, you can check out my I Love Mama Fix-It shirts. So please, 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 if you like my videos, if you have a mom that you want to honor, go to my website, check out my shop. And if you subscribe to my website, I will give you a 15% off coupon for any of my merchandise. So please go to my website, www.amygiaquinto.com, and click on the little gold subscribe button. Enter your email address. I will not spam you. I swear I will not. I don't share your information. And I will give you a 15% off coupon. Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. And as you noticed, I've moved my cupcakes over here. So I'm just gonna flip them over. They're nice and cool. If you try and frost a warm cupcake, you're gonna end up with a goopy frosting mess that runs all over everything. So to frost these babies, you grab a knife or your frosting bag. I'll show you. I just don't want to get a frosting bag dirty because I'm lazy right now. Actually, I'm not lazy. I'm overwhelmed because it's the Christmas season. Holiday season, I should say. A little overstressed, but that's okay. Because frosting things can be very, very, very therapeutic. I just thought of another tip. If you dip your knife into the water and you smear it on here, on your cupcake, to smear the frosting down a little bit, then when you dip this, when you dip your cupcake in your frosting, or I mean in your sprinkles, this is what you get. Yay! Many of you don't know that I used to work in quality assurance. Look at this. I should take a bite, huh? Cheers! Okay. Oh my god. That's good. Look at, okay, super light, super fluffy. Oh, oh, that's good. These are absolutely phenomenal. Trust me, they're so good. Oh, there's our cake. Comes out nice and clean. It's our beautiful cake. Yay, told you it would work. I have my cake out of the oven. I put it on the cooling rack. I'm not gonna touch that thing for at least an hour, okay? I'm gonna get back to eating this lightweight, fluffy, delectable cupcake. Oh my God, this is good. Look at this. Light, fluffy, springy. See, it's not crumbly. I'm trying to crumble it and not crumbling. It is perfect. It is the closest thing to a gluten cupcake that you're gonna get. It's delicious. You think anybody will notice that there are 11 cupcakes and not 12? It would not be a good cooking episode if I did not show you my cupcakes that were plated and how I hid the fact that I ate one of them. These are so beautiful, especially considering the price. They are very, very inexpensive to make, and these cupcakes, what is it, 8 cupcakes on a plate from a gluten-free vegan bakery probably would have cost me about 80 bucks. Yay! I saved you money. I saved you money. I'm saving me money too. Yeah! So now that we have our cake that's been sitting out here cooling for probably about a half an hour, I'm just gonna put the cooling rack on the top of it. I'm gonna hold it by the sides here. I'm gonna flip it over. And put the cooling rack back down. And just unwind my aluminum foil here and pull it up. And then I'm gonna gently pull my foil off of the cake. And voila! Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our cake here and we're gonna put it onto this layer. So put your hand on top like this, one hand on the bottom like this. Let's see how much you can see this, like that. And we're just gonna flip over. I'm gonna pull this off gently. That over there. And now I can layer it on. Not too bad for gluten-free cake, huh? Okay, now we're ready to frost the rest of it. I am Amy Giaquinto and I am Mama Fix It. And if you like this episode, please like and subscribe and go over to my website, www.amygiaquinto.com. Check out all my merchandise. For now, I am gonna sit back and relax and enjoy my break. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yay! Oh, little cupcake.
Hi, what's up? I'm a cupcake. Don't you eat me.
Oh, come on, hurry. So fun. The GoPro is officially cooled off! Yay! I wonder if I can make smoke circles with it. I'm gonna set the timer. I didn't do that.